There is a reason you clicked this message today. A reason your spirit felt pulled toward these words. A reason something inside you whispered. Listen. Don't skip this. This is meant for you. Because right now, Archangel Michael is stepping forward with a message that carries weight, urgency, and divine timing. This message is not about someone else. Not about your past. Not about random signs or coincidences. This message is about you. About your path. Your destiny. Your protection. Your spiritual assignment. Your emotional healing. Your next chapter. Archangel Michael has been trying to reach you quietly. Through subtle signs. Through inner feelings. Through sudden intuition. Through strange restlessness. Through unexpected thoughts. Through dreams you couldn't ignore. But today, the message is no longer subtle. Today, he speaks clearly. Do not ignore this. You need to hear what comes next. Relax your mind. Calm your breathing. Let your spirit open. You are safe. You are protected. You are meant to hear this. Let us begin. The moment heaven tried to get your attention. There comes a moment in every person's life when the noise of the world suddenly grows silent, and something deeper begins to speak. A voice that does not come from the outside. A message that does not rise from your own thoughts. A pull you cannot explain. A whisper that is both gentle and urgent at the same time. And tonight, as you are listening to this message, a shift is happening around you. Something is trying to reach you. Something sent from above. Something meant only for you. This is not a coincidence. This is not random timing. This is not just another video you stumbled across online. Heaven has been watching you closely. Heaven has been observing your steps, your pain, your setbacks, your disappointments, your silent battles, and the moments where you convinced yourself, I'm fine, even though you were carrying things no one knew about. The truth is, you've been walking with a weight on your spirit for far too long. And today, Archangel Michael is stepping forward because something about your life is shifting, and heaven refuses to let you walk into your next chapter without guidance, without protection, and without clarity. For weeks, maybe even months, you've felt a strange tension. You felt moments of heaviness that came out of nowhere. You've sensed people around you changing. You've picked up on energies that didn't feel right. You've had dreams that disturbed you, moments where you woke up in the middle of the night without understanding why, and days where you suddenly felt tired in your soul rather than just your body. These were not random. These were signals. Signals that heaven has been trying to get your attention. Archangel Michael has been watching the spiritual pressure around your life rise. He has seen the confusion, the attacks, the emotional exhaustion, the delays, the strange obstacles, and the way certain situations drained your peace. He knows how close you came to giving up on certain things. He knows how much you've been carrying alone. He knows the questions you never asked out loud. And today he says, it's about you. Not someone else. Not another message for the general audience. Not a moment meant to inspire the crowd. This is specifically for you. Because before anything else changes, before the blessing arrives, before the breakthrough unfolds, there is something heaven must make you aware of. Something they don't want you to overlook. Something they don't want you to ignore. You may have noticed signs recently. Moments where you thought, this feels strange, but dismissed it. Moments where you felt sudden intuition, but you shook it off. Moments where a name came to mind, a thought appeared, or a feeling rose up without explanation. Archangel Michael says you have been receiving spiritual notifications, but life's noise made you miss them. That is why this message is coming again, stronger, clearer, and more direct. Heaven is not trying to scare you. Heaven is trying to prepare you. You are walking into a season where clarity matters. Where protection matters. Where understanding matters. where discernment matters more than ever before. There is something happening around you in the unseen realm. Something that your spirit has sensed, even if your mind hasn't fully understood it. Archangel Michael says you've been under spiritual observation. Certain people, certain energies, certain environments, and certain patterns have been pulling on you, trying to influence your path. And heaven can no longer sit quietly as your destiny is being tugged in directions that do not belong to your future. You have a calling. You have a purpose. You have blessings that are scheduled for your life. And where you are headed next cannot be contaminated by confusion or surrounded by the wrong intentions. This is why Archangel Michael says, "It's about you. And I need you to listen. You have been giving your strength to the wrong situations. You have been giving your heart to people who only gave half of theirs back. You have been giving your time, your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy to things that drain you instead of strengthen you. And heaven is saying the season of being pulled away from yourself ends here. Whether you realize it or not, a spiritual transition is happening. A door is opening, and something new is approaching. But before you walk through it, there is something heaven needs to remove, something heaven needs to protect, and something heaven needs to reveal. For too long, you've been trusted with others, but you have not allowed heaven to speak directly to you. You have been strong for everyone else but silent about your own wounds. You have prayed for others, supported others, uplifted others, and carried others, but ignored the weight inside your own soul. And Archangel Michael is saying, stop ignoring yourself. Stop ignoring the signs. Stop ignoring the pull. This message is your confirmation. Because the next chapter of your life cannot begin the same way the last one ended. Heaven is preparing you, not punishing you. Heaven is calling you closer, not pushing you away. Heaven is lifting you up, not weighing you down. Tonight, heaven is saying, you matter. What happens next matters. And you must hear this before anything else unfolds. This is only the beginning. This is the opening door. This is the moment your spirit wakes up to what heaven has been whispering all along. And now, Archangel Michael has more to reveal. Heaven saw what you couldn't see. There are moments in life when you walk through situations thinking everything is normal, everything is fine, everything is harmless. But heaven sees what you do not see. Heaven looks at the intentions behind people's smiles. Heaven listens to conversations you were never meant to hear. Heaven watches the moments planned behind your back, the moves made in the dark, the energy in certain rooms, and the truth behind someone's motives long before they reveal themselves. And that is why Archangel Michael is stepping forward with urgency. Heaven has watched you try to carry yourself with grace, even in situations that were quietly draining you. You tried to be understanding. You tried to be patient. You tried to be forgiving. You tried to assume the best in people. You tried to keep the peace, even when the atmosphere felt heavy, confusing, or spiritually off. But while you were trying to hold things together from the outside, heaven was already aware of the spiritual cracks beneath the surface. Archangel Michael says, you saw the surface. We saw the truth. You saw someone's words. Heaven saw their intentions. You saw someone's actions. Heaven saw their spirit. You saw someone's apology. Heaven saw the hidden resentment they never dealt with. You saw the opportunity. Heaven saw the trap beneath it. You saw a moment of kindness. Heaven saw the motive behind it. Heaven has been watching the way certain energies tried to attach themselves to you, the way certain people tried to influence you, the way certain atmospheres tried to weaken you. And for a long time, you didn't realize it, because you were too focused on keeping the peace, too focused on giving chances, too focused on staying loyal, and too focused on protecting other people's feelings while ignoring your own. Archangel Michael says you have been walking with a heart that gives freely, trusts deeply, and loves sincerely, but not everyone around you has matched that sincerity. You were in rooms where your spirit felt uncomfortable. You were around people who smiled but secretly envied your strength. You were connected to individuals who wanted access to your light but never offered anything back into your soul. You confided in people who had no intention of protecting the things you shared. You stood with people who would not have stood with you in return. Heaven saw all of it. And heaven said, "Enough." Archangel Michael reveals that there have been conversations about you, whispered words, hidden frustrations, comparisons, jealousy, misunderstandings, and misjudgments, that never reached your ears, but they reached heaven's. There were moments where you sensed something was off but ignored it because you didn't want to overreact, you didn't want to assume the worst, or you didn't want to believe someone you cared about could be shifting against you. Heaven says the reason you felt uncomfortable was because your spirit recognized a truth your mind wasn't ready to accept. Archangel Michael is not bringing this up to hurt you. He is bringing it up to protect you. Because something new is coming into your life, and it cannot be tainted by the wrong spirits. It cannot be delayed by hidden intentions. It cannot be slowed down by people who lack maturity, loyalty, or sincerity. Heaven has watched you pour into connections that were not healthy for you. You gave advice, support, kindness, time, effort, forgiveness, all while getting very little of that back. You tried to maintain bonds that heaven had already begun separating. You tried to stay connected to people heaven had already removed from your path. You tried to keep alive relationships that were only meant to be temporary. And that is why you felt drained. That is why you felt confused. That is why your spirit felt tired. That is why you began feeling differently inside, even if you didn't know why. Heaven began pulling you away. Your spirit began rejecting certain energies. Doors began closing. People began exposing themselves. You began seeing truths you didn't expect. This was not a coincidence. This was not bad luck. This was not rejection. This was protection. Archangel Michael says, "We removed what you did not see. We blocked what you did not know. We shielded you from what was planned in secret." Heaven has been protecting you from situations that were not for your good, even when you thought losing them meant losing something valuable. In reality, heaven removed only what would have harmed you later. There were opportunities that didn't work out because they were not aligned with your purpose. There were relationships that faded because their connection to you would have weakened you spiritually. There were friendships that changed because their energy could not go with you into your next season. You may have blamed yourself. You may have wondered what went wrong. You may have questioned why things shifted so suddenly. But heaven says the separation was necessary. The distance was intentional. The silence was divine. The closing of doors was not punishment, it was preparation. Your life is entering a stage where clarity matters more than comfort. Where protection matters more than familiarity. Where truth matters more than staying connected to the wrong people. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that heaven is not asking you to distrust everyone. Heaven is asking you to trust the signs you receive, trust the instincts you feel, trust the discomfort in your spirit, trust the red flags that appear without explanation. Because the next season you are walking into has blessings attached to it. Connections aligned with it. Breakthrough tied to it. Elevation waiting for you. And anything, absolutely anything, that would interfere with that elevation must be moved out of your life. You didn't lose people. Heaven removed distractions. You didn't lose relationships. You were pulled out of spiritual traps. You didn't lose opportunities. You were redirected toward better ones. Heaven saw what you could not see, and Archangel Michael has been fighting battles on your behalf long before you knew there was a battle. He stepped between you and harm. Between you and deception. Between you and danger. Between you and spiritual interference. If you had known what heaven shielded you from, you would be on your knees in tears right now. This is why heaven says, it's about you. Your destiny. Your protection. Your path. There is something you need to understand about your life, something that heaven says you've sensed, but never fully acknowledged. You have been walking through a season where everything looked normal on the outside, but a spiritual battle was quietly unfolding behind the scenes. The heaviness you felt out of nowhere. The sudden stress that made no sense. The unexpected distraction. The emotional confusion. The spiritual dullness. The random waves of discouragement. The strange shift in your atmosphere. The moments when everything felt fine one day and heavy the next. None of this was random. Archangel Michael reveals that you were moving through a spiritual battlefield without realizing it. Forces of confusion tried to cloud your clarity. Forces of fear tried to weaken your courage. Forces of delay tried to slow your progress. Forces of distraction tried to pull you away from your purpose. And forces of spiritual interference tried to block you from hearing divine instruction. But the reason you didn't fully understand what was happening is because the attacks came in subtle ways, through subtle distractions, subtle emotional shifts, subtle spiritual fog, subtle heaviness, subtle people, subtle conversations, subtle temptations, and subtle thoughts that tried to make you doubt yourself. Heaven says the enemy did not come loudly. The enemy came quietly. Quiet enough to blend in. Quiet enough to seem normal. Quiet enough that you didn't recognize it for what it was. Quiet enough that you questioned yourself instead of questioning the source. You thought you were tired. You thought you were stressed. You thought you were unmotivated. You thought you were losing interest. You thought you were overwhelmed. You thought you were changing emotionally. But Archangel Michael says, you were not losing yourself. You were being spiritually targeted. The enemy was trying to wear you down before the blessing reached you. Trying to get you to quit before the breakthrough appeared. Trying to pull you into distractions before your clarity returned. Trying to drain your spirit before your elevation began. Trying to shift your emotions before your purpose became clear. Trying to confuse your mind before you made the right decision. Your spirit sensed something was wrong, but your mind couldn't identify it. There were moments when you felt a sudden heaviness in your chest for no reason. Moments when you felt overwhelmed by thoughts that weren't yours. Moments when you felt your confidence drop out of nowhere. Moments where your sleep was disturbed. Moments where you woke up in the middle of the night. Moments where you had dreams you didn't fully understand. Moments where you felt spiritual pressure without explanation. These were signals. Signals that heaven was shielding you from a spiritual interference trying to reach you. Archangel Michael says, you were protected, even when you didn't know you were under attack. The reason the enemy targeted you is simple. You are close to something heaven has prepared for you. You are close to a breakthrough that will change your direction. You are close to clarity that will expose every lie. You are close to a season that will elevate your purpose. You are close to a shift that will answer prayers you prayed in silence. You are close to becoming the person heaven has been shaping you to be. And whenever you are close to something significant, the spiritual resistance increases. This is why your emotions have been unpredictable. This is why your energy has been inconsistent. This is why you've felt disconnected at times. This is why you've been easily overwhelmed. This is why old temptations tried to resurface. This is why unexpected setbacks appeared. This is why people around you began acting differently. This is why your intuition tried to warn you. The enemy wanted to distract you before the blessing reached you. The enemy wanted to close your heart before heaven opened a door. The enemy wanted to plant doubt before God planted direction. The enemy wanted to pull you away from your purpose before you aligned with it. The enemy wanted to create chaos before heaven released clarity. You weren't imagining it. You weren't overreacting. You weren't being emotional. You weren't being sensitive. Your spirit was detecting the battle before your mind understood it. And yet, despite the spiritual tension around you, you were protected the entire time. Because Archangel Michael stood between you and every unseen force. Every whisper of fear. every shadow of confusion, every attempt to drain your energy, every subtle attack meant to distort your clarity. Heaven never allowed you to walk into danger unprotected. But now comes the most important part. The battle is shifting. The spiritual interference has been exposed. The pressure has been revealed. The truth has been uncovered. And the attack has been weakened because heaven stepped in. Archangel Michael says, "You were never fighting alone. You were never walking blindly. You were never in danger without protection. There is a reason you survived this season. A reason you kept going. A reason you didn't collapse spiritually. A reason you didn't give up. A reason you didn't fall into the trap set for you. A reason your intuition grew sharper instead of weaker. You were being trained, strengthened, awakened, elevated, protected, prepared. Heaven allowed certain battles to come close, not to destroy you, but to strengthen your discernment, because where you are going next requires sharper spiritual sight. Your sensitivity has increased because your calling is increasing. Your intuition has sharpened because your purpose is sharpening. Your spiritual awareness has expanded because your assignment is expanding. There is a reason you don't feel comfortable around certain people anymore. A reason certain environments drain you. A reason your spirit feels unsettled in certain situations. A reason certain connections no longer feel aligned. A reason certain offers no longer feel right. Your spirit is no longer blind to what heaven has made visible. And now Archangel Michael reveals something important. You were not attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you were becoming powerful. The enemy feared what you are transforming into. Feared the clarity you are about to step into. Feared the healing you are walking toward. Feared the influence you will carry. Feared the purpose heaven is activating in you. Feared the blessings that are about to unfold. And so the enemy tried to confuse you before you realized your strength. But heaven says the confusion stops now. The fear breaks now. The pressure lifts now. The fog clears now. The battle shifts now. Because heaven has decided that you have endured enough spiritual interference, enough emotional turbulence, enough tension, enough confusion, and enough of the enemy's attempts to drain your spirit. You are stepping into a season of clarity. A season of revelation. A season of protection. A season of breakthrough. A season of divine alignment. A season where Archangel Michael will go ahead of you to clear the path. The hidden battle is ending, and a new phase is beginning, a phase heaven has prepared you for, even when you didn't understand the process. And this next part of the message reveals what heaven is about to give you, and why Archangel Michael says this message is too important to ignore. The revelation, why heaven chose this moment to speak to you. There is a reason you are hearing this message right now. Not earlier. Not later. Not at a random moment in your day. Heaven waited for this exact time, this precise window, because your spirit is finally ready to receive what your heart was not ready to understand before. Archangel Michael says there is a divine reason for this timing, a spiritual reason for this urgency, and a heavenly reason why the message is being delivered with such force, such clarity, and such seriousness. You have reached a spiritual turning point. A crossroad. A threshold moment. A shift in your timeline where your next steps matter more than you realize. Heaven says, you are standing between what was and what will be. This is not an ordinary season in your life. This is a moment where heaven interrupts your routine because something bigger is unfolding behind the scenes. For months, maybe even years, you have been praying for clarity. For direction. For healing. For relief. For breakthrough. For a sign. For a change. What you didn't realize is that heaven was preparing the answer long before you asked for it. But answers cannot arrive in confusion. Blessings cannot enter chaos. Revelation cannot grow where your heart is divided. Elevation cannot flourish in an atmosphere of distraction. This is why heaven waited. This is why certain opportunities were delayed. This is why certain people changed. This is why certain paths closed. This is why certain emotions surfaced. This is why life felt heavy at times. You were being prepared for this moment of revelation. Archangel Michael says, "We warned you through your intuition. We guided you through dreams. We spoke through signs. We pulled you through energy shifts. We protected you through delays. And now we speak directly. This message is not just to comfort you. It is to prepare you. Because you are about to step into a chapter where the environment around you must match the destiny within you. Your life is entering a season where you cannot afford misalignment. You cannot afford emotional turbulence. You cannot afford to be surrounded by mixed intentions. You cannot afford low-frequency connections. You cannot afford to doubt your inner voice. You cannot afford to stay where your spirit no longer feels safe. Heaven is calling you higher. Higher in clarity. Higher in purpose. Higher in awareness. Higher in spiritual strength. Higher in discernment. But in order to elevate you, heaven first had to reveal to you what was happening around you, the truth behind certain energies, the intentions behind certain people, and the spiritual pressure that tried to stop your progress. Archangel Michael says, "You must understand what you're leaving behind before you step into what we are giving you next. Because your next season cannot be built on old foundations. Your new chapter cannot be infected by old wounds. Your upcoming blessings cannot be surrounded by old habits or old influences. Your breakthroughs cannot mix with old limitations. Heaven has been pruning your life, removing, shifting, changing, not because you were losing anything, but because you were being prepared for something better. This moment, this message, this divine interruption, is heaven's way of saying, get ready. Something is coming. But before heaven releases it, Archangel Michael must tell you the truth. You are about to walk into a season that the enemy tried to block. Yes, the battle you just came out of was not random. The heaviness, the confusion, the strange emotional shifts, none of it was without purpose. The enemy saw something forming in the spiritual realm regarding your life and tried to discourage you before it reached manifestation. But here's something heaven wants you to understand. The enemy does not attack what is empty. The enemy attacks what is valuable. You were not targeted because you were weak. You were targeted because you are chosen. Chosen to break generational cycles. Chosen to heal instead of repeat patterns. Chosen to rise instead of collapse. Chosen to glow even when surrounded by shadows. Chosen to carry a calling others do not carry. Chosen to walk a path that is protected, guided, and ordained. Your life has a divine purpose. And your soul carries a light that the enemy wanted to dim. But heaven did not allow the attack to succeed. Archangel Michael stepped in. Spiritual interference was broken. Confusion was lifted. The fog was cleared. Hidden danger was stopped. And now heaven is giving you the revelation so you can move forward with strength rather than fear. Archangel Michael says, you survived what was meant to break you. Now you will receive what was meant for you. This is why the timing of this message is so important. Because what is coming next requires your attention. Your focus. Your clarity. Your readiness. Your spiritual awareness. No more ignoring signs. No more doubting your intuition. No more staying connected to people who drain you. No more settling for situations that keep you small. No more giving access to those who do not value your soul. Heaven says, prepare yourself. Your blessing is near. But blessings are not the only reason heaven is speaking. There is something deeper, something heaven wants to shift inside you. You have been carrying wounds quietly. You have been functioning through exhaustion. You have been smiling while hurting. You have been supporting others while feeling empty. You have been pretending you are fine when your spirit has been calling out for rest. Heaven wants to heal you. Heaven wants to restore what was taken. Heaven wants to rebuild what was broken. Heaven wants to strengthen what was weakened. Heaven wants to give you clarity where there was confusion, and peace where there was chaos. Archangel Michael says, "This is the moment we pour back into you." The divine wants you to know. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not unprotected. You are not uncovered. You are not spiritually abandoned. You are surrounded, guided, guarded, lifted, strengthened, protected. And the reason heaven is speaking with urgency is because there is a decision approaching, a turning point, an opportunity, a shift, and your choice will determine the direction of your next season. Heaven wants you to choose from clarity, not confusion. From strength, not exhaustion. From awareness, not blindness. From intuition, not pressure. Because more is coming. More blessings. More opportunities. More spiritual growth. More divine alignment. More protection. More clarity. And heaven does not want you to sabotage your own blessing by holding on to things that were meant to fall away. You've been asking for confirmation, and this is it. You've been asking for a sign, and this is it. You've been asking whether you're on the right path, and this is heaven saying yes. But heaven also says, it is time to release what cannot go with you. Because the next chapter of your life is sacred, beautiful, protected, ordained, written with divine purpose. And to enter it, you must walk with awareness. Archangel Michael says that everything you have been feeling, every shift in your spirit, every moment of confusion, every emotional wave, every disruption, every sudden change, all of it has been leading to this. A divine shift. A turning of the spiritual tide. A transformation of your internal world. A realignment of your path. A repositioning of your destiny. This shift is not small. It is not symbolic. It is not subtle. It is life-changing. Heaven has been preparing you for it for far longer than you realize. You may think the last months or years were random, chaotic, or pointless, but heaven says they were intentional. Every moment you survived was shaping you for what comes next. Archangel Michael says, you are stepping into a season where what once felt blocked will suddenly open. But here is the truth, the shift begins within you before it manifests around you. And heaven needs you to understand this deeply, because the transformation you are stepping into is not just about blessings, it is about identity, healing, and spiritual maturity. You are not just becoming stronger. You are becoming clearer, wiser, more protected, more aligned, more spiritually aware. The shift begins inside your spirit. You will begin to notice that situations you once tolerated no longer feel acceptable. People you once entertained no longer feel aligned. Plans you once made no longer feel meaningful. Paths you once considered no longer feel right. Energy you once absorbed no longer feels compatible. This is because your spirit is evolving faster than your environment. Archangel Michael says, you are growing out of the spaces that once held you. This can feel uncomfortable, lonely, confusing, disorienting, emotionally heavy. But it is not a sign of loss, it is a sign of transformation. Heaven is shifting your identity because your destiny is shifting. You are not meant to remain where you were. You are not meant to shrink to fit old versions of yourself. You are not meant to repeat cycles you outgrew. This shift is heaven elevating you to where you were always meant to stand. And now, heaven wants you to understand the 4 major changes that are coming into your life as part of this shift. A shift in clarity. For the first time in a long time, you will feel mentally clear. The fog that surrounded your mind. The confusion that clouded your decisions. The self-doubt that tried to weaken you. The heaviness that interrupted your focus. All of it begins to lift. Heaven is restoring your inner sight. You will begin to see the truth behind people, situations, conversations, and opportunities. You will understand why certain connections ended. You will see the purpose behind the delay. You will realize how heaven moved to protect you. Everything that once confused you will start making sense. Archangel Michael says, clarity is coming because your purpose is calling. Your mind will feel lighter. Your spirit will feel calmer. Your intuition will become louder. Your path will become visible. This clarity is not temporary. It is the beginning of a new spiritual alignment. A shift in relationships. Heaven is reorganizing the connections in your life. Some people will exit quietly. Some will distance themselves without drama. Some will fade away naturally. Some will reveal their true intentions. And some new, divinely aligned people will enter your path. Heaven is removing what drains you. Heaven is preserving what strengthens you. Heaven is bringing in what elevates you. Archangel Michael says, we are guiding people to you who speak the language of your soul. People who support your growth. People who respect your energy. People who encourage your purpose. People who match your sincerity. People who protect your spirit, not manipulate it. You will not have to question them. You will not have to chase them. You will not have to shrink for them. You will not have to explain your soul to them. Heaven is sending people who understand you without needing explanations. This shift in relationships is necessary for what comes next. A shift in opportunities. Doors you thought were closed will suddenly open. Roads you thought ended will reveal new pathways. Ideas you forgot about will come back to life. Dreams you pushed away will resurface with clarity. This is not coincidence, it is divine timing. Heaven is moving situations around to align with your destiny. You will notice. Certain plans begin flowing effortlessly. Specific opportunities return suddenly. New connections bring unexpected breakthroughs. Old limitations fall away. Creative inspiration returns. Motivation rises. Things that once felt impossible begin to unfold naturally. Archangel Michael says, when the path is divine, it will not require you to force what is meant to flow. What blocked you before will no longer block you. What confused you before will now make sense. What felt delayed before will arrive right on time. This shift in opportunities is heaven placing you exactly where you need to be. A shift in your spiritual authority. Perhaps the most important shift is this. You are stepping into a higher level of spiritual authority. This means your discernment will strengthen. Your intuition will sharpen. Your sensitivity to energy will increase. Your awareness will deepen. Your inner voice will become unmistakable. You will begin to sense things before they happen. You will detect energy the moment you walk into a room. You will recognize people's intentions faster. You will understand spiritual signs without confusion. This is not accidental, this is elevation. Archangel Michael says, you are being positioned as a spiritual leader, even if you do not see yourself that way yet. Your presence will shift atmospheres. Your words will carry weight. Your energy will bring peace where there was chaos. Your spiritual insight will guide others. And the enemy knows this. This is why the attacks felt intense. This is why confusion tried to surround you. This is why the battle was stealthy. But you made it through. You survived what was meant to break you. You held on when the enemy hoped you would collapse. Heaven says, now we elevate you. The activation, a new level of protection. Along with elevation comes new protection. Archangel Michael is doubling the shield around your life. You will notice. Certain people feel uncomfortable around you unless their intentions are pure. Toxic individuals will avoid you. Negative energy will bounce off you. Hidden agendas will expose themselves instantly. Spiritual interference will be blocked. Your presence alone will become a shield. Archangel Michael says, "We surround you with divine fire." This fire is not literal, it is spiritual. A protective barrier around your life. A warning to anything that tries to harm you. A sign that heaven stands with you. Nothing formed against you will prosper. Nothing whispered about you will take root. Nothing planned against you will succeed. Nothing meant to stop you will reach you. Heaven is not just guiding you, heaven is defending you. Your role in this shift. Heaven says there are 3 things you must do to receive what is coming. Release what does not serve your spirit. Trust your intuition without second-guessing. Move forward when heaven prompts you. Do not cling to what heaven removed. Do not fear what heaven exposes. Do not resist growth. Most importantly, do not shrink back into the person you are leaving behind. Because the next season requires the version of you that is strong, aware, healed, intuitive, and aligned. Archangel Michael says, "Step forward. Your spirit is ready. The breakthrough ahead. There is something coming that will confirm everything heaven has said to you. A blessing that will shift your confidence. A moment that will reveal why the battle was so intense. An opportunity that aligns with your purpose. A revelation that will bring you peace. Something life-changing is approaching, and it is closer than you think." Heaven says, "What you prayed for is already on its way. This is the shift your soul has been waiting for. Your spirit has felt it. Your dreams have sensed it. Your intuition has whispered it. Your heart has prepared for it. And now, heaven confirms it. You are stepping into a season where the pieces of your life begin to align in ways that will make you stop and say, 'Now I understand why everything happened the way it did.' This is not the end. This is the beginning, the turning point, the lift-off.